Well, there is a new book out detailing the timeline of the Flint water crisis from Bridge Magazine, which is the biweekly news and analysis publication from the Center for Michigan. It's called Poison on Tap: How Government Failed Flint and the Heroes Who Fought Back. I sat down with Senior Editor David Zeman and reporter Chastity Pratt Dawsey for a closer look. All right, David, we've followed a lot of the in-depth reporting that Bridge has done on the Flint water crisis over the last year and a half or so, but give readers an idea of what they can expect now from this book, Poison on Tap. Is it just a collection of everything that's been written?
It's a collection of everything that's been written, but it really paints a much better, fuller portrait of all the government mismanagement that's gone on over more than a year, and it also goes a little bit beyond that, because it paints a portrait as well of the many heroes and who came together and refused to accept the word that everything was fine. And it tells their stories as well.
The entire staff contributed to this, Chastity. What were some of the things that stood out for you in terms of what needed to be inside this book to give people more context?
It's really a reference material kind of book where you look at it in a chronological way. It has the timeline from even before the switchover and up until almost to date. We're going to be updating it as well. Anyone who wants to know, okay, what happened in March of 2015, it's there. Anyone who wants to know, okay, so tell me, I want to know more about Mona Hanna-Attisha, or really what was Mark Edwards and how was he involved? It tells the chronological story in one place, and people don't have to Google all over, America to find out, okay, how did this really transpire? It's all in one book now.
And that's what I think is so great about it. And one of the things that caught me about Bridge's coverage during this entire process was the timeline. That you guys sat down and were able to start to really give detail and attribution to where all of the detail was coming from, all in one place. How important, or how, I guess, time-consuming was that, David, in terms of putting that timeline together even before it got into the book?
Yeah, it was incredibly time-consuming, but that's really our niche, which is to provide data-driven, evidence-based journalism. And, this, like so many issues, it becomes sort of a political football. On the one hand, you have folks say, well, this is what happens when you have democratically controlled cities. On the other hand, there are some people who think Governor Snyder woke up one morning and decided to poison Flint's children, and there's crazy stuff on both sides. And this really provides a really full, comprehensive context and a great research tool, as Chastity said, to really get at, all the different layers of mismanagement here.
I think it's interesting that you bring up the political debate and the politics of it all, Chastity. People say, oh, so does this come from a certain lean? Because you say, and the heroes that help the city. How would you kind of characterize the tone of this book?
I think it's just the facts. I mean, the fact of the matter is, if the people of Flint didn't stand up and demand answers, this wouldn't have happened. So yes, factually, these people are heroes. Is that opinion? Is that leaning? Some people would say yes, but I would say no. If Mark Edwards and Mona Hanna-Attisha and Leanne Walters and Melissa Mays and the Democratic Defense League in Flint hadn't stood up, this would not have been exposed, and there wouldn't be this huge, attempt to solve it. So I think it's just the facts, and it's really important to put it down, because 5 years from now, 10 years from now, people's minds get foggy and people try to rewrite history in a way that's not fact-based. So it's really important to get this stuff down now in a way that's straight and forward.
But it's also a great civics lesson, and I don't care whether you're a Bernie Sanders supporter or a Tea Party supporter. All across the spectrum, people can read this book and look at these activists and these just ordinary residents and see, and take some pride in the fact that they wouldn't take the pat answers of government, that everything was okay, when their eyes and ears and everything else were telling them that there was a real problem here.
A Poison on Tap is now on sale on Amazon. You can find it there. And for more information, just go to MiWeek.org.